from Force 13 HQ. This is June 17th, 2017. Here's your Tropical Weather Bulletin. Hello, Saturday morning, June 17th. We have one invest active, that's 92L in the Atlantic, and nothing else apart from the area of interest in the Caribbean, which I do expect will also become an invest pretty soon. Apart from that, the rest of the world is very quiet indeed after the 2 weak tropical storms, admittedly, that we had last week. But all we have right now is that Invest 92L in the central Atlantic, which of course is what we're going to look at. 5.5 degrees north, 35.3 degrees west, just about peeking onto the screen there, right at the very bottom. So low in its latitude that we are barely able to see it underneath our bar there. 30 miles per hour and a pressure of 1009 millibars is the latest. And Force 13 Suze is tracking this system right now. And you can visit that at the link at the bottom of your screen there, and that's what it predicts at the moment. A weak tropical storm is what it's saying, winds of 40 miles per hour as it approaches Trinidad, but this is pretty speculative, and I would say it's probably a worst case scenario. If anything, it may end up being weaker, not even reaching tropical storm intensity, but we're watching it. We're also watching that area of interest there in the Western Caribbean. Look at all that thunderstorm activity and rainfall associated with it, rather broad, and that's expected to move towards the northwest, towards the Gulf of Mexico. 60% I believe on that one right now in the next 5 days. In the Eastern Pacific, not much going on here so much. A few little thunderstorms there in the eastern area, but nothing that we're really looking at right now for development in the next 5 days. Looking at the West Pacific, also pretty quiet. You can see that massive frontal system extending pretty much from the southern part of China all the way across towards Japan, and I wonder if Merbok is in any part in that, embedded somewhere, but certainly no tropical development on the cards. In the Australia and South Pacific region, as you can see, pretty quiet there too, not too much going on. A little bit of weather off the coast of New South Wales in the Coral Sea. Looks like some little tropical activity to the north of Fiji there as well. The Indian Ocean also looking rather quiet, very disorganized activity going on there, very large scale, nothing really in the terms of tropical development apart from some disturbances in the southern hemisphere near the equator. Sea surface temperatures are pretty warm, particularly in the eastern Pacific off the coast of Mexico, very warm there, and in the southern Gulf of Mexico and off the coast of Cuba, 28 degrees plus, possibly towards 30 actually. In the main development region of the Atlantic, looking pretty warm too, certainly not going to be an issue for that invest. The Indian Ocean, very warm there too, especially off the coast of India, both sides, and in the South China Sea and the Philippine Sea, temperatures are above 30 degrees, warming up nicely for the Western Pacific typhoon season. So here's the up-close and personal floater of Invest 92L, which is still so far east that it doesn't have proper imagery yet from the floater. It looks to me as though it's 3-hourly imagery, or maybe a little bit better than that. Certainly not the 30-minute imagery that they usually come out with. We'll get that probably a little bit later on as it moves further west towards the beautiful new imagery from GOES 16, which they're not officially using yet for their floaters, I don't believe. But this is the latest imagery of the system. It's looking pretty good on paper, but there is no circulation yet, and winds are slowly increasing. It's going to be interesting to watch, certainly. So this is what the numbers are right now. 2 tropical depressions, 17 tropical storms, 3 category 1s, 1 category 2, 2 category 3s, 1 4 and 1 5 right now. And we're still way behind really, especially in terms of accumulated cyclone energy, ACE, of which it is still the lowest amount to date since 1954 before satellites. 25 tropical storms though have formed so far, which is somewhere to the lower end of average for the time of year. 31 was the entire total in 1900, for instance, and it'll take quite a while for us to catch up to a recent year. So the next name in the Atlantic, of course, is Brett. We could also see Cindy this week, who knows. In the Eastern Pacific, Dora is next up, after Calvin last week. In the Central Pacific, the next name is going to be Walaka, the last name on list 4. Nanmadol is up next in the Western Pacific after Merbok last week, and Oki is next in the North Indian Ocean on list 7. And as we enter the last 12 or 13 days of the Southern Hemisphere official bounds before we switch over to 2017-18, Hilda is next up in Australia, Gabakeel in the Southwest Indian Ocean if by a miracle a storm forms in the next 13 days, and in Fiji it's going to be Fehi, the next name there. That's all for now, more tomorrow. You can follow Force 13's outlets, the website force13.co.uk at your service at any time with its tracker. You can also find us on YouTube, search Force 13 if you're not there already, subscribe if you haven't. You can also find us on Facebook and on Twitter, search Force 13 all in text to find us on there. You can also add Fool13 on Skype, that's FOOL13, and add extension 9094 on Discord for tropical weather chat.